Hello everyone and everything, welcome the heck back. We are breaking down Sly 2's final episode today, and as much as I'd love to find an excuse to build the suspense even further, let's just go ahead and pick up right where we left off last time.
There we were, heading east across the Atlantic Ocean, stowaways on a giant airborne fortress. Though time was short, we made sure to study up on our unknowing host, Arpeggio.
Even when we're so deep under the gun, our villain's backstory remains one of the gang's highest priorities. Sly just has this need to understand why they do what they do.
While attending a prestigious boarding school, the young Arpeggio excelled in all subjects.
Oh, yep, there we go. You know I love legible text in the backgrounds of these. What you got for me, game? I don't know if this is English. Okay, the school appears to be called Wiclasty of Waston, okay, and then over top the arch, I'm guessing this is like the school motto or something, so maybe it's Latin? Isiul backwards Pile Caius PS29. Alright, I'm a little out of my depth here. I can at least assume the PS stands for private school, maybe. I don't know, what do you want from me?
But he never managed to keep up with the other boys physically. Sadly, his wings, due to their small size, were useless for flight. Furious at his feeble body, he focused his powerful mind to search for a cure in the works of the Italian Renaissance masters. Their notebooks provided the springboard for this sinister young genius, and it wasn't long before the Claw Gang took him on as chief inventor.
Pretty obvious one, these sketches and journals he's studying are a clear reference to the works of Leonardo da Vinci, and no, I have no idea what this says either. If you mix and match a bunch of languages, you get something similar to mobile in water as well, but man, that's a reach. I give up, game. No more legible text, please.
His talents must have been at work repurposing all the clockwork parts for their criminal schemes. And now this mastermind is in possession of all the parts. It's only a matter of time before he puts them back together. And when that happens, well, I'm not gonna let that happen.
Okay, now that's a good pun, if a little tough to understand as a kid. The title being over top a close-up of Clockwork's face is also a clear reference to the first game, where the same was true of its final episode. Now we're in the level proper, and oh, wow. All of our levels thus far have been so anchored in reality. For our final foray to be aboard an airship large enough to be compared to the city blocks and palaces we've become so accustomed to, this is incredible, so original, so inventive, and yet so off-putting. This is not the first time we've been on an enemy's territory, but it's definitely the first time we've been completely isolated there. No van, no escape. Unless Sly can somehow paraglide with a hippo on his back, we have no alternative but to play by Arpeggio's rules. We finally learned a bit about him thanks to our intro cutscene, but this blimp's design is also characterizing for him. Look at all these different means of lift. We have massive propellers, some more modern, some based on Da Vinci's designs, inspired by ship sails with canvas. Wings based off the same, giant balloons for hot air, others for helium. No one source of power was enough for Arpeggio. He had to have it all, just like he had to have all the clockwork parts. It paints a picture of a villain whose resources and technology far outclass anything we've faced before, which is just one element designed to make us feel off balance. Our safe house hardly feels like it lives up to the name. The shell of the battery bolted to the front of the ship, crystal clear, like any guard nearby could discover our hiding place in an instant. The line between safe rooftop and dangerous ground has never been more blurred. Countless spots of the ship can't be traversed without crossing a guard's path. Even the way the horizon is tilted in the sky, Episode 8 just feels crooked. We've messed up. We're at every disadvantage, but we press on because we don't really have a choice.
My instruments have picked up large magnetic fields radiating from inside that blimp. If Arpeggio's already started reassembling clockwork, that's where you'll find him.
Sounds good. I'm on my way.
Don't waste any time here, Sly. Get to the blimp and take some recon photos. To build a plan, we need to know how close they are to reviving clockwork.
Relax, Bentley. I've got it under control.
Wait a minute, can you really have just like a whole setup like this inside the balloon section of a blimp? That'd usually be filled with helium. You're not actually supposed to breathe too much of that stuff.
It can cause a lot of problems, and only one of them is funny.
I had no idea they could reassemble clockwork so fast!
Calm down, Bentley. He might be in one piece, but he doesn't appear to be, alive. Let's stick to the format here. How about some recon photos?
You're right. We need to be informed to create a plan of action. Try to get a shot of Clockwork's head, a mech egg, and one of those spinning magnetic inducers. They seem important to the procedure, but stay away from the guards. If you get detected, we won't have time for a second chance.
Okay, this is actually the toughest small area to navigate yet. Despite what Bentley says, we can be spotted by these guards without failing the mission, but we're not allowed to take them out. You can actually see their pockets glowing blue as though they have keys, but you can't fully pickpocket them for the moment. This is definitely the only time that happens.
I'm sensing radioactivity from inside those mech eggs. I wouldn't get too close.
Alright, but there isn't nearly enough high ground to fully avoid these guards' territories. At some point, we're gonna have to take a risk.
These magnetic inducers seem to be holding the clockwork parts together.
I'm not 100% certain, but I'm pretty sure the sound effect for these inducers is the same as the level portals from the first game.
Clockwork appears completely inanimate. We still might have a chance.
These clockwork parts are affected by the physics. I hope you're thinking what I'm thinking.
I'm detecting voices from the front of the blimp. I think it's Arpeggio. Neela? Neela's here too!
Bentley fully demands these pictures be taken from the much foggier glass of the doors than from here. Man, I guess I just don't get photography.
There he is, the mastermind behind this blimp and the source of all our problems. I can't believe it! She must have been working with Arpeggio all along. I don't need to study those photos to see the writing on the wall. Clearly, Neela and Arpeggio have conspired together to rebuild Clockwork, and it looks like they're dangerously close to realizing their goal.
Look, Bentley, I know it's not your style, but I need a quick plan of attack. Try to think of a way, any way, to stop Clockwork from getting reassembled.
Well, those magnetic inducers seem to be holding the parts together. If you reverse their polarity, it should pull Clockwork apart. Unfortunately, the inducer speed control station is locked down tight. Pickpocket keys for the 4 patrolling guards to get at it. Then you'll need to manually reverse the polarity of each inducer deck at the top of their rotation.
Consider it done.
Okay, this mission is pretty great. In this compact area filled with guards, we've got to navigate around, take pictures, pick pockets, and then once we have the keys...
Now get to the speed control station to slow down the spinning inducers. Now that the inducer decks are spinning slower, get up there and reverse the polarity of each deck.
We've got a pretty cool platforming challenge as well. What a complete test of all of Sly's main abilities. And this is just the first mission at that. Just a tiny nitpick though, I could totally get on top of these platforms without them being slowed down. Just saying. Launch me! Launch me! Yes! No, that didn't quite work. I got him stuck. Don't worry, this mission is still quite completable. Sly is fully capable of climbing on the oxygen molecules in midair. Oh, that ain't good.
What's all this then? The magnets have been reversed. But, by Jove, it seems to have locked the clockwork parts into place. Excellent!
Sly Cooper! Of course this would be your doing.
Ah, Mr. Cooper. No doubt you believed a reversal would pull the old bird apart, eh? But it seems to have had quite the opposite effect. I'm truly grateful. When fully powered up, I'll join myself to its circuits and be born anew!
All this because you can't fly.
You're pathetic.
Immortality! Immortality is what I seek.
What does Baron von Ruthless do?
He starts monologuing.
He starts monologuing. He starts like this prepared speech about how feeble I am compared to him, how inevitable my defeat is, how the world will soon be his.
All right, everyone, strap in and hold on for dear life. Arpeggio is about to dump a lot of information on us. It's going to come at us thick and fast, so I'm going to break it down piece by piece.
The other Claw Gang members were much too short-sighted. They were satisfied using the clockwork parts to drive their various trivial schemes. But not me. No. I saw them for what they really were. The keys to life eternal.
Arpeggio is the de facto leader of the Claw Gang. If we were to ask any other member, they'd probably tell us that each one gets a say in what happens, but Arpeggio is the mastermind, the one who knows what steps to take to turn ideas into successful schemes, and he knows the rest of the members well enough to manipulate them towards his own interest. So he's been sitting pretty on top of this whole spice operation, as discussed a couple episodes ago. We got the grower, the distributors, and their spider on the inside of the law. But then, through his research, Arpeggio learns about clockwork. He sees the frame is up for grabs in Cairo, and believes that with it, he could cast off his mortal shell. But he can't steal it by himself, and the Claw Gang won't steal it for him unless they know they get a slice of the pie. So he spins a little story. He says, hey, those clockwork parts have incredible potential. I could repurpose them to increase spice production, magnify the Contessa's hypnosis abilities, and so on. So they pull off the job. Only Arpeggio did his job too well. While Jean Bassan might have been willing to part with his share in exchange for just the money to buy more trains or hire more lumberjacks, the rest all stood to gain much more by keeping their parts. No matter though, Arpeggio's willing to dismantle the Claw Gang if it means getting all the pieces. After all, once he and Clockwork are one, what need would he have of them? Lucky for him, through his research into Clockwork, he already knows there's a piece in play that's motivated to do most of the legwork for him. As one final touch to the heist, he instructs the Contessa to place a specific officer to stake out the crime scene.
So, what? You had Neela put me on the scent back in Cairo, and then waited while I stole the parts from the other Claw Gang members, all the while not arousing any suspicion that you were behind it all?
Sly would steal the parts, and Neela would make sure the Claw members were quickly snapped up by the law shortly afterwards, all while keeping tabs on the Cooper Gang's ever-growing stash.
You make it sound easy, Cooper. I had to carry your pathetic gang through that first set of heists. I was overjoyed when Arpeggio let me toss you in jail. I could finally go after the parts myself.
And then, of course, Neela herself. The woman who managed to get in good with the Claw Gang, Interpol, and the Cooper Gang all at once. It's clear no one but Arpeggio knew she was involved with the Claw. If the Contessa had that kind of intel on her, things might have gone much differently in Prague. Most importantly, her involvement answers many questions that have been cropping up over the episodes, and deliciously helps snap some piece of foreshadowing into place.
Thanks for clearing out the Contessa. Nothing I did could pry her away from the clockwork eyes. Wouldn't should be enough for the old bird.
The fact that a first-time player can assume she's talking about clockwork here? Too good. So Neela's the cornerstone of this whole operation. Without her masterwork, who knows how far we or Arpeggio could have gotten.
Ah, but acquiring all the parts was only half the equation. Think, Cooper. What kept Clockwork alive for thousands of years?
He was fueled by his hatred for my family.
Splendid! That's right! Hatred. Putting his gears and wires together was child's play, compared with accumulating that much hatred.
You can't make people hate.
Oh, my poor naive boy. My meticulous mind has found a way. As your hippopotamus friend will attest, spice consumption makes you both angry and susceptible to hypnosis. The Contessa, hypnotist extraordinaire, devised a way to command people through the use of flashing lights. I've created this blimp to be a massive transmitter of those precise light frequencies. The only problem I faced was finding a suitable source of light waves.
The Northern Lights. You've been collecting Northern Light energy so you could hypnotize everyone beneath the blimp.
Ah, hypnotize those who'd eaten food covered in illegal spice. Thank goodness for Dmitri. Through his nightclub, he got the whole city to consume the spice.
You're going to Paris to unleash a hypnotic light show of hate. That's outlandishly cruel.
Cruel, perhaps, but necessary to give Clockwork his spark of immortality. Ah well, my new body awaits me. Be a dear, Neela, and keep him covered. Ta-ta!
Stupid Arpeggio. I double-crossed the Cooper gang, Interpol, and Carmelita. What made you think I wouldn't do the same to you?
Yeah, honestly, we all should have seen that coming.
This is preposterous. You're my protege, not the next candidate for my immortality. I demand you exit the clockwork frame or...
Oh my god, this makes Neela the only villain in this game we've seen outright kill someone. This is actually great subversion of the monologuing villain trope. Arpeggio got to have his moment laying out all the pieces of his plan for us, but then gets absolutely stuffed 20 seconds later by the one factor he didn't account for.
Behold, Carmelita is born!
Yeah, I'm not calling her that. Sly's just like, uh-oh.
As we all know, things are looking grim. Neela has joined herself to the clockwork frame and the Union has produced Clockla. She's out and free to terrorize the world. This blimp is still in motion to Paris. I can only assume Arpeggio's autopilot will activate the hate hypnosis light show. If that happens, there'll be no stopping Clockla. She'll be immortal. But we still have a chance. In her new form, she'll need to draw a lot of energy from this blimp's engines to stay strong. If we can disable the engines, that should be enough to weaken her to a state in which we can attack. Getting at these engines will require all three of us to work together in perfect harmony. We've pulled off some tough jobs in the past, but they were just the warm-up round for what we'll be going through tonight.
Okay, now it's time to really get into this level. Right off the bat, let's take a look at the last batch of power-ups available in the shop. We're going to be heading out to Sly, and his final new power-up is the Feral Pounce. It's a bit pricey, but it's one of my favorites. The Feral Pounce is a long jump ability. In conjunction with Sly's double jump and paraglide, it gives him absolutely insane distance off his jumps, making him more mobile than ever. It's also just really satisfyingly animated. I love the way he rolls out of it, or lands on all fours. It's got that Jak and Daxter kind of feel. If you can't afford it, the pedestal treasures around here are worth way more coins than anything else. While we're talking about coins, there's something I've been holding off on pointing out for a long time, but it's one of my favorite little details about this game. Every region we've been in has its own unique coin designs. Here on the blimp, they all have Arpeggio's signature A on them. The same ones we can see on his birdcage and all over his blimp. Wait, didn't Neela destroy that thing? In Canada, they have what else but the maple leaf on them. In Prague, they have these cute little spiders. In India, they have these abstract kind of tiger symbols. Back in Paris, they have these twirly Dimitri tail symbols, which you can also see all around the nightclub, like on the dance floor and in Dimitri's office. Finally, back in Egypt, yet even here, the coins have this wingy symbol on them, which you can also see at the front of the museum. I love that the game does this. It's such a small detail that helps give each locale that much more of its own identity.
To disable that engine room, you and I are going to have to work together.
Happy to have you along, Bentley. What do you need me to do?
Pickpocket the guard's keys to the engine room. Once you've got the door open, I'll take over.
Okay, you should take your position. It's not gonna take me long to lighten these guys of their keys.
Now, as you can probably guess by this bottle sitting right in front of my face and the plethora of objectives scattered across the map, I chose to do this mission first so we could break down the bottles. Now, this map is actually not that big, but it's mechanically complex, and it definitely doesn't separate into a few neat chunks either. The highlight for me are these giant steering propellers towards the back. It feels super slick to jump onto the low edge of one and use it to reach the upper levels, but there are little navigational challenges like that all around. So obviously, we're gonna grab the one right here where we started the mission, and then loop around to the front of the ship here, grabbing one on these lamps and picking up our first key. Next, let's climb up to the top of the crane over the top of the safe house and find two more way up here. From here, we can see that Neela is really making her presence felt, making sweeping laps around the airship accompanied by those classic clockwork noises. She even casts these spotlights down from her eyes. If you get spotted by her, your position gets bombarded by these egg drones. You'd be forgiven for not realizing that's the case though, because there's really nothing visually connecting Neela with the appearance of these robots. They just sort of happen, which is pretty janky. Turns out what's actually happening is that the eggs are being launched at you from Arpeggio's blimp. Yeah, that big lump there is a cannon, and this is what that whole stash of eggs in the back of the ship was for. This is such a bizarre and specific combination of elements, which I didn't even know about until just now. I have to wonder if this mechanic was going to be the focus of a mission at some point, and if maybe that was cut. Unfortunately, I do have to point out, this level was pretty obviously the victim of some crunch time. This was the last level made in development, and it actually has the fewest number of missions, the smallest variety of guards, a good deal of reused mechanics and assets, and a couple of uncharacteristically buggy visuals as well. The lack of guards especially may be pretty disappointing. We have our flashlight guards and only one variety of rooftop guard, which we can actually see are just the same model but with different equipment. And as much as I adore the visual gag that is a dodo with a jetpack, past levels felt a lot more dynamic with multiple varieties of guards which could come at you with a variety of weapons. Like the rats could have batons or be unarmed or have dynamite. The monkeys could have spears or torches. It's not something I personally feel drags this level down, but it is a bit of a shame. Mind you, we also have these little egg drones, and my favorite thing about these guys is what happens if you knock them onto the blimp's main propeller. Next, we're going to drop down below the safe house, find a bottle there, and then head over to this turbine to find a bottle next to it, and one on the top of the flag. Next to that hot air balloon, we'll find one on this bouncy thing. And now we can head towards the center of the blimp. This little gazebo sort of thing has a bottle on top of it that is impossible to reach without some kind of gadget. It's always stuck out in my mind, because it's just a little too high and a little too far. Sly can reach it with his feral pounce, Bentley with his jetpack, and Murray with his big jump. Now this central propeller system has a ton of bottles around it, so starting from the top, we'll find 2 on these long poles, then on the large middle ring, we'll find 3 more by running all the way around the circuit. We'll also get our second key. Man, why did they make it so you could run across this thing? This looks amazing. Next, down on the lower level, we'll find 3 more bottles by circling around this central platform, and our third key is here as well. Now we'll climb up this level on the port side of the ship and find a bottle here. You know, I was gonna say north, not port, because relative to the direction the ship is flying, which by all accounts should be east, this should be the north edge, but the actual in-game compass would disagree. Apparently we're heading directly due south. Not sure what's up with that, but hey, I'm no pilot. Up here we'll find a bottle on top of this pole, and then we're gonna hop down to this big platform. Now we'll find a bottle over the center of this propeller, and another on this pole leading to the other big platform. We're gonna cross this storage area where we'll find a key, a pedestal treasure, a bottle, and honestly the biggest safety hazard in this entire game. Arpeggio, you're just transporting unsecured crates on an open-air platform like this? You're gonna kill somebody. Next we'll head towards this ladder leading to the upper levels. Grab the bottle here, and head upstairs. Here we'll find a bottle on this lamp, and then we'll head across the steering turbine to find a bottle up here. There's this well-hidden pedestal treasure beneath us, and by climbing up this balloon tether, we can reach this upper area with a bottle here, and one here. Cross these big flappy wings, and we'll find 2 more bottles in this upper structure, and then we'll drop straight down to this somewhat hidden platform for our very last bottle. That's all 240 of them in the bag. That feels good. Oh, and our last pedestal treasure is right up here, along with our final key.
Okay, Sly, I'm waiting by the engine room door.
Okay, Bentley, you're on.
Hey, Bentley, I'm looking at these, blueprints, and I think you've got to shoot out all the bulbs with your dart gun to get up to the second level. Here's the hard part. Once you shoot a bulb, you'll need to then take out the bulb the electricity is going to. If you miss and break the wrong bulb, there'll be a big power surge and kablam!
Alright, this is a really fun challenge, but it kind of baffles me too. We have not once in this whole game been called upon to hit a moving target with our darts, so necessitating this level of precision with a one-hit kill consequence is actually kind of insane. But I do love it, especially in Fast Forward.
This right. It looks like you need to bomb those power nodes to get into the control room. Once that door is open, you'll be able to shut this engine down for good.
Now we've tested our dart skills, now to put our bombs to use. This has honestly got nothing on that bridge demolition level. Though we are being constantly swarmed by these infinitely respawning drones, they're really not fast enough to be much of a threat.
Take it all the way, buddy. Put the override switch and this engine is toast. That's one less engine for that creepy clock thing to draw power from.
Now we're out and about as Bentley, and I want to talk about his final gadget. He gets the Temporal Lock. This is a reference to the ultimate ability from Sly 1, freezing all guards on the entire map for a few moments, enabling him to go to work with his darts, his bombs, or just get away clean. It's like the music box, but you don't have to aim it. So now, of all 3 party members, Bentley can run faster, jump higher, and incapacitate guards easier than Sly or Murray. It's actually kind of crazy how powerful he's become.
That's one of the engines that needs to be disabled. I won't lie to you, Murray. This is going to be a tough job that requires both our skills.
My skills? Okay, Bentley, if you say so.
First, I'll need to hack the stations controlling access to the engine room. Then, Murray, you'll need to head inside and use your muscle to finish the job.
The Murray will be ready to go.
No, not 3 hacking objectives, please. Come on, we were doing so well. Oh, but upon booting up this hacking minigame, you might notice something is a bit different. These enemies are insane. We actively stand no chance of taking them head on, but this hacking setting has a unique mechanic. Our bullets are now bouncy, and through clever use of angles and corners, we can destroy these supercharged enemies without needing to directly engage them. Now this is what I'm talking about. We've got a cool, unique mechanic that builds on what we already know, and it's just visually satisfying to watch these things ricochet all around the map. Now we're getting somewhere. Oh, and this second level isn't the same as the first. Oh, it's so beautiful. I knew you had it in you. This is where everything we've learned comes together. These melee enemies apply pressure while we try and set up just the right angle to take out the shooters settled in these corners. You've got to stay on the move even while you want to stay settled in one spot. Oh, it's so fun. Hey, have you ever wondered why there's no loading screen in and out of the hacking minigames? Not even like a fade to black? Shut up, no you haven't. You're not some kind of weirdo like me who spends their precious brain cells thinking about that sort of thing. But the reason is, the hacking levels are actually on the same map as the rest of the level, just hidden above the skybox. This is true of every hacking level we've ever done. If we pull the camera out far enough, we can find the digital world. Oh, the implications of that.
There are fields, endless fields, where human beings are no longer born. We are grown.
This last level's pretty sweet too. Our super tank friends are now mobile, making this a massive game of push and pull as we try to press forward, but need to fall back to maintain our advantage of angles and ricochets. I only wish we could have started hacking at this level and seen how far they could have pushed this mechanic. I love this.
Make way for the Murray!
Looks like you'll need to lift all those giant cylinders. Once they're locked in the up position, you'll be able to take them out from the top level.
So this is pretty dang sweet. Each of these missions to destroy the engines is built on being a final test of everything we've learned as each of these characters. I love that each one is a tag team effort too. So every time we lift these plugs out of the ground, a guard is going to come pick a fight with us. I like that we're kind of encouraged to push our luck here and see if we can lift an extra plug before the guard reaches us. These guards are actually kind of interesting too. Unlike every other guard in the game, they don't have a weakness to fire. Probably to make it so they don't kill each other with their jetpacks, but it makes for some weird interactions.
Nice work. Head up to the second level and thunderflop on the giant cylinders. That should finish them off.
So this is the first and only time in the game the thunderflop is required to use. I wonder if anyone's gotten to this point without knowing it was something they could do.
Perfect. Now, head into the control booth and pull the plug on this thing. Another engine bites the dust.
So now we're running around as Murray, and you might reasonably wonder what crazy cool final gadget he's got available in the store.
Oh, Murray didn't get one.
They ask you how you are, and you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just can't get into it because they would never understand.
Murray, it looks like I'm gonna need some help getting into that engine room.
Happy to help.
Bentley tells me that the door to that room is locked down by wall-mounted power stations located throughout this blimp. I'll need you to take out all the power stations and then pry open the door by hand.
No sweat, Sly.
So yeah, this mission basically just is the alarm horn mission from Black Chateau, only set in a tougher area. I mean, I'm only a little salty. We still just get to punch a bunch of fools.
Looks like the power locks are offline. So go on back and pry it open for me.
Your turn, buddy.
Careful, Sly. This place is packed with laser security. First, you'll need to make your way to the far end of this room. Then jump up to the second level to get at the engine room control center.
Alright, well this isn't technically the craziest laser setup we've ever seen, but it's absolutely up there.
Alright, the control center is opposite your position in the room. With some well-timed spire jumping, you should be able to get access.
The saw blade setup isn't too bad, but you can't afford to get lazy with it. Miss a single jump and it's back to the beginning. I always found it funny that if you stand on a saw that's blading, it counts as fire damage. And hey, here's our final vault.
That arpeggio really knew his encryption algorithms. As it stands, I'm only 86.5% convinced the code to the vault is 725. You've gotten the shadow power move!
Shadow power is essentially the invisibility power from the first game, with many of the same limitations. It allows you to completely avoid the notice of guards, however, you can't use it if you've already been spotted, nor can you jump, run, attack, or even activate it in midair. Additionally, while it can still be used to fool spotlights, it does not work on lasers like it once did. Unfortunately, while this power is pretty cool, it comes so late in the game we don't have a lot of opportunities to make use of it. I'd have loved to sneak around Dimitri or Rajan with this equipped. Well, perhaps another time.
That's lights out for this engine.
Our last mission of this set is as Sly, and I always loved this. As long as the first mission you take on in this sequence is one of Sly's, you never actually have to go back to the safe house to switch characters. Really elegant design there, and paces this level out super well.
This engine room is locked down tight. Since we can't get in, I figure we'll have to destroy it from the outside.
I hope you're carrying some heavy explosives, Bentley, because that engine isn't small.
It just so happens that there's a ready supply of explosives already available on the blimp. Walk one of these TNT barrels up to that engine room to destroy it.
Sounds easy enough. What's the catch?
The initial payload in that TNT barrel won't be powerful enough to do the job. If you pick up 3 magnetic chargers, you should achieve the necessary blast force to destroy the engine. It's simple, really. Just get close to the chargers, and they'll automatically attach to your barrel.
All right, let's blow stuff up.
All right, let's blow stuff up. Oh, wait, no, not me, no. So for this mission, the blimp is absolutely crawling with flashlight guards. Between that and our drastically reduced mobility, this is our final test of Sly's stealth abilities. We have to make our way all over the ship to get the charges we need. But honestly, it all sounds a little more exciting than it is. In practice, we are just walking from point to point while not walking when there's danger. It does end up being a bit slow, though no less funny of an image now than it's ever been.
Yep, that TNT was definitely there a second ago.
The hardest thing about this mission is figuring out a way onto the upper levels of the blimp. You have to figure out that these bouncy things have been made to function completely differently for this mission. That's a bit cheeky.
That should be the last time anyone puts that engine to use.
Okay, so we've destroyed the engines on the blimp we're on, which is crossing the Atlantic Ocean. I don't think we thought this one all the way through.
And an unexpected windfall, I've been contacted by Inspector Fox over the shortwave radio.
So assuming she hasn't miraculously cleared her name at Interpol, Carmelita definitely stole that helicopter, right? Also, can you fly a helicopter from Canada to Paris? That sounds unlikely.
She's well aware of the dire situation we all face if Plakala becomes immortal and has agreed to join forces with us so that we can destroy the robotic bird. The only catch is that she's unable to locate this blimp on her radar. To help her hone in on our position, we'll need to boost the strength of 4 local radio towers. Once Inspector Fox is in range, she'll take one of us on board to act as a tail gunner in a dogfight against Plakala. This is it. We don't have time for another plan. We're almost over Paris, and if that hate hypnosis light show goes off, well, you know the story.
Okay, so kicking off this mission set, Sly has a thing strapped to his back. And funnily enough, if you wanted to try right now to get some of the pedestal treasures, you just straight up can't. Guess we'd better do the mission then.
Okay, Sly, we need to send Carmelita a radio pulse so she can home in on the blimp. To do that, I'll need you to get on top of 4 very tall towers. They are too big to climb and too tall to jump up normally.
What's this all got to do with this thing you've got me wearing?
It's an experimental mega jump pack. By pressing the R2 button, you'll perform a huge jump, so be careful.
All right, sounds like fun.
Oh, it is, Sly. It really is. For this mission and this mission only, Sly has access to the Mega Jump gadget, which enables him to really just go anywhere he wants. This is the ultimate upgrade. Need to escape from guards? Mega Jump. Need to get over there? Mega Jump. Don't feel like using a ladder? Mega Jump. Just goofing off? Mega Jump. In a tight spot? Oh. Maybe don't Mega Jump there. In the past, I've even waited until this mission to grab all the bottles, just because it makes exploring and finding them so fun. So this is my favorite mission. After a whole game meticulously structured around where you can or can't go, it's just freeing to soar around this crazy airship using this absolutely bonkers ability. Haha, we can even make it to this blimp. No. In a lot of ways, there's no mission I associate closer with this game. As a kid, I would start all the way over and play through the whole thing again just to re-experience this mission. And much like the game as a whole, it's the kind of thing you hope will never have to end. But you know what they say about all good things.
Carmelita has picked up on our signal. She's now headed on an intercept course directly for us.
So, a nifty glitch here. Until we exit the map or change characters, we get to keep our Mega Jump equipped, in this kind of phantom state. We can even make it back to Arpeggio's blimp, which flew out of range after our first mission. We can't go back inside, but you can get this really cool view of the whole airship from way back here. But unfortunately, there's really nowhere else for us to go except to finish this. Unless I can make it up to Neela myself! I am too powerful! Wait, Neela, no, wait, what's happening? What the heck is going on? Aha, she counts as solid ground. You can't get rid of me that easily.
Look, Sly, for once, let's cut the flirty chit-chat and get down to business. I need an experienced tail gunner. Jump in and grab the gun. We've got a bird to take down.
That's not flirty chit-chat?
Alright, this is it, our rematch with Clockwork. Odd as it is for our final boss fight to be a turret mission of all things, it's somehow appropriate. While perhaps we could have had this whole fight centered around jumping our way up to them and going to work with Arcane, Carmelita's role in this fight is crucial. To say nothing of how many parallels this fight shares with the final boss of the original game, her shouts of encouragement throughout this fight are downright invigorating.
We're getting through! Keep at it! We're winning! Don't let up! You're doing great! Take that, Neela! You're doing it, Cooper!
Gotta love the contrast from her usual brand of commentary.
Hide and cower, worm. You're no match for me!
It brings the whole game full circle, where once Neela helped us out and Carmelita opened fire, after a whole game of that tiger's treachery and lies, we joined forces to bring her down. However, if there's one complaint I've heard leveled at this game more than any other, it's that Neela is not an effective final villain, maybe lacking the presence and thematic impact of the first and third game's villains, and I must disagree. Though I can see how people get there. See, it all comes down to what we still don't know about her. Her backstory. We don't know her past, we don't know her ancestry, we don't know what set her on this path, and we can only guess at where she plans to go from here. She's an enigma, a chameleon that has spent this whole game being whoever she needs to be to further her own schemes, which means now, we have no idea who Neela is. In that way, she actually represents a fantastic foil to Sly and his values. Neela, the woman without a legacy. Sly predicates everything he is on his family history, a history with which Clockwork has been intertwined. Neela becomes our priority not just because she's a snake that needs to be put down, but because by joining with Clockwork, she parasitizes that history. She poisons our past, all while reviving a threat that now looms not just over Sly and his loved ones, but his legacy as well. Which brings us back to the fight itself. This is one of, if not the toughest challenge in the game. Neela has a variety of attacks at her disposal, primarily these yellow rockets, which must be shot down to be avoided. These red rockets are the same, but take multiple hits. Throughout the fight, Clockwork's eyes will begin to glow, accompanied by this sound effect. This indicates she's charging up her strongest attack, and you'll have to hit her several times to get her to stop, or else she'll unleash this heavy damage lightning attack. Once you get her down to about 2/3 of her health, she'll start sending out lightning rings. Hit the ring to make them safe to pass through, though be very careful. If you hit the ring again, it'll make it dangerous once more. I recommend just holding your fire until you're safely through so you don't accidentally flip the switch at the last moment.
Shoot the bird, not the air!
However, if she starts charging up and sends a ring at you, you might have some difficult decisions to make.
Can't take much more of this!
You don't have to play perfectly. You have a fair bit of health, and you only have to get Neela down to about 1/5 of hers before we're finished. Just focus on surviving over dealing damage, and you should be just fine.
You should have been a cop. That was some terrific shooting.
Sly, we've got a serious problem here. Clockula's looking mighty upset, and I think she's going to take it out on us.
I'm coming, guys. Hold on.
This music here always struck me. It's not a climactic, get-to-the-chopper triumphant action theme. It's this quiet, precarious piece.
Help! Anyone! SOS!
We're plummeting through the air, our friends on the horizon, picking our way through the debris of the blimp, just trying to find a foothold.
If I get out of this, I'll never speed again.
Desperation definitely feels like the appropriate word. Even one misstep here, and we're dead. No thought in our head but to catch up to Neela and see what can be done.
Oh no! Help! Please! Someone!
When's this bird gonna stop? Just make it stop! I can't take it anymore!
I knew I'd go out this way, inside a battery. I just knew it. Hurry, Sly! We're going down really fast!
Hurry up, Sly! This is getting kinda out of hand!
You want a piece of me? Don't worry, there's plenty to go around.
You might have a new body, Neela, but you're still the low-down, backstabbing coward we've beaten time and time again. This won't be any different.
Be brave while you can, Cooper. I might not have the immortality born of pure hate, but I feel some power growing within me.
She'll make a big show out of this lightning attack again, but this time you'd have to actively try to be hit by it. Besides that, it does seem she's dropped our friends, so let's finish off the last of her HP and hope we're closer to the ground than we look. We made it back to Paris. Up till now, you might have thought of this as our comfort zone.
We did it.
Right on!
It's an emotional moment.
Die, insects, die! My hate will smash you.
Watch out. That thing's still kicking.
Clockula mentioned something about a hate chip. It sounded like the source of her power.
If we remove it, she might stop attacking.
Then let's do a little open head surgery. I'll pry open that beak so that Bentley can go to town with his bombs.
Although these final moments don't have much fight to them, it's fitting that we don't finish off Clockwork just as Sly. We get our last chance to reflect on the roles our best friends have played.
I hate you, Cooper Gang. I will find you in your sleep and I will destroy you. You will never know a moment's peace for the rest of your short, miserable lives. The Clocklock will know revenge. I am revenge. I am the Alpha and the Omega. Clocklock!
It's hard to know at this point if Neela is using Clockwork's body, or if Clockwork is just using Neela's voice. I think that's left up to interpretation. Either way, we've got to end this.
I still have my hate shit. You will not defeat me. Never!
Let's get out of here. She's about to explode. Ah! My glasses.
Huh? Bentley! I'll save you!
Pick me up. I can't walk.
Come on, Sly, let's get out of here!
And there we were, at the end of the road. The Claw Gang had been defeated, and the clockwork parts lay scattered around in heaps. Yet, despite the explosion, they remained pristine. It was as if nothing could ever hurt them. Carmelita cursed herself for showing up too late to get a few shots in on Clockla. So she took it out on what was close at hand, the hate chip. And just like that, it was over. Without that core piece, that essential center of clockwork, there was nothing left. The parts aged before our eyes as if time had finally caught up with the ancient bird.
The hate chip is an interesting addition to this story. Rather convenient that after thousands of years of Coopers, we are the first to find this core that can finally end clockwork permanently. It certainly runs the risk of being contrived, but spending this time picking that apart might miss the point.
How ironic that Carmelita, a police officer, would be the one to lift the curse from the Cooper family. The menace of clockwork would never again rise to threaten me or my children.
Rather, the hate chip's existence lets Carmelita fulfill this role in the story. That she got to land the final blow affirms everything Sly feels for her. And, more importantly, did you catch that?
The menace of clockwork would never again rise to threaten me or my children.
This is the first time Sly has ever mentioned his potential kids. With clockwork finally out of the picture, he's no longer locked in his past. He can look to the future.
True to her nature, she informed us that we were all under arrest. But one look at my gang told me that we were in no shape for a fast getaway. So I offered to go peacefully in exchange for letting my friends walk.
And then he does this? How incredibly mature of him not to push for one last escape, to lay himself down for the sake of his friends.
They'd taken some bruises through all of this, but I was surprised, shocked really, to see them leave their gear behind as they walked away. Their wounds were deeper than I'd imagined. Those guys were hurting. Carmelita's old police unit soon arrived. With me in custody, her name was cleared, and she even got a well-deserved promotion. It was the least I could do.
We get this moment as well, which directly mirrors this one from the end of episode 6.
Sooner or later, I'm gonna have to figure out a way to clear her name, some way other than turning myself in.
Before, turning himself in was the one thing he wouldn't consider. Now, it's the least he can do. He's finally looking past himself.
The ride to HQ started with us sitting in silence, trying to read each other's thoughts. As the reality of my capture started to sink in, she began to relax, and we got to talking. We spoke freely about our previous adventures, comparing notes and even getting in a few laughs. Then we started talking about, well, everything. Books, music, art. It was like we were on a first date. She even showed me the bottle she'd been saving for the special occasion of my arrest.
This is just a joy. No deception involved, neither running from the other. Sly and Carmelita finally get to just talk. It's honestly beautiful. And you can bet I want to take a closer look at some of these frames. Look at Carmelita's little Cooper mug, and her bunny slippers. Sly's actually reading the Thievius Raccoonus here, probably a passage on safecracking. Here we see Carmelita just straight vibing to some Neil Damon. Oh, and I absolutely want a closer look at this artwork. Obviously up top here we've got Van Gogh's Starry Night, but these other two I'm at a bit of a loss. This might be some kind of ship, so that could be anything, and just going off the colors, this other one could be Bruegel's The Harvesters. But the best thing about this frame is that this is the exact same display for both Carmelita and Sly.
My heart sank when she realized that our short flight across town had already taken 2 hours, a fact I kinda clued into after seeing the Eiffel Tower float by 17 times. She went forward to ask the pilot what was up, and it looked like my pals had left me a little going-away present before taking off.
Whoa, wait, when did...
Floating away on the night breeze, I could faintly make out Carmelita's voice.
I'll find you, Cooper! I'll be seeing you soon, Ringtail.
God, what a way to cap off the game, with the only fully animated clip in any cutscene. And so, here we are. Sly 2 Band of Thieves broken down bit by bit. This has been quite a journey, both for Sly and for me, which I have enjoyed thoroughly. There are many reasons Band of Thieves seems to have withstood the test of time. It's not just about playing cops and robbers, it's not just about jumping and pickpocketing and running and gunning. Sly 2 is about the lifestyle of a thief. Not the kind of thief in it for the money, but the kind that's in it because it's all they know. It's a thrilling lifestyle that we've gotten to experience firsthand. Tremendous highs, beating the odds, knocking down those stronger, smarter, more resourceful than us, and yet it's fraught with risk. The title of the game, Band of Thieves, it's fitting not just mechanically, but thematically as well. Our focus this whole game has been on Sly and the friends surrounding him. There is no question as to what he couldn't have accomplished if they didn't have his back, which is what makes it so bitter that Sly's not just risking his own neck, but those of his friends. You might well have assumed they'd always bounce back, that their luck was inexhaustible, but watching them walk away, I think after all we've been through, the player feels what he feels. But if there's anything we can learn from our journey, from the villain that set us on it, it's that nothing should be made to last forever. What we leave behind when our time is up, the people who care that it's over, that's what makes us human. That's what makes life worth living. That's what's at the heart of a legacy. So treasure the memories we've made, the ups and the downs, and maybe we'll see this band of thieves again. Oh, I love this. Sly returns the wine bottle she'd been saving for his arrest as if to say, yeah, you haven't caught me yet. And yeah, here at the end we get a number of Where Are They Now panels for many of our major characters. Apart from Carmelita though, it's really hard to tell if any of these are meant to be canon or if they're just meant to be one last joke for the player to enjoy. Like obviously all these characters went to jail, how long after the fact is this meant to be? The Contessa uses her hypnosis to sell houses now, and Jean Bassan must have been hypnotized himself. That's the only explanation for the sheer 180. He's gone green, he's gone vegan, he works for the Environmental Protection Agency, although he is the only one we didn't get to see arrested. It's all in good fun. After all, we've done it. Beat every challenge. We've seen everything. We won. Go outside. Sucker Bunch is really telling me to touch grass all these years on, and I will, surely, but there are a few things I want to address before signing off. Most importantly, a great deal of you have expressed your interest in seeing Game Breakdown returned for Sly 3. I'm not gonna keep that in suspense. I have every intention of breaking down Sly 3, but not yet. For starters, there are actually 2 more videos I want to make on Sly 2, covering everything that didn't fit neatly within any of the 9 videos so far. Once those are out of the way, there are so many games I am excited to give the Game Breakdown treatment to. And I neither want to get too comfortable in just one series, nor do I yet want to fully exhaust all of Sly's games and close the door on them. So, keep an eye out. We'll get there eventually. And as usual, if you want to see my next video right now, it's available on my Patreon. Thanks to all of you who have signed on so far, and I'll see you in the next one.